All right.
Okay, it is
Hold on.
3:16.
Let me make sure you can hear us. Can you hear us, Jack?
Right, I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Okay, and I would call together the regularly scheduled meeting of the Community Preservation Committee. It's Tuesday, August 20. And for fairgrounds, we do have a quorum. And so the agenda has, as the revised agenda has been circulated. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as in front of you.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Carries unanimously. The minutes of July 16 have previously been circulated. Are any changes or corrections to them? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Hearing no objections or changes, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously.
And what you have to do at the very beginning when somebody's on the speaker is say that we have a quorum,
Roll
but
call.
Jack Gardner has called in by speaker, so he's counted. Okay.
Okay. There is no correspondence other than what's on the agenda. Now, the fund requisitions are included under item Roman 1A through I.
These are 2 Octobers. Well, here, I'll take this one.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve A through I as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries unanimously.
Jack's in favor. Can you hear Jack say aye?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, the item that we did not discuss last month is here, and it's the issue with respect to NISDA and the deed restriction and the letter from Kathy Kelm asking that in view of the fact that they've made significant progress with respect to the agreement on the language of the deed restriction, whether or not that would be satisfactory to the commission to proceed to let them continue to file refunds for the funds they have expended. And I'll turn to Maria because Maria is the project manager for this project.
I made a copy of what I stated the last time, just because I think we've been over this a couple times, and I think the issue is getting waylaid. But anyways, make a long story short, I talked to Kathy again today, and I think she has a little trouble with the protocol. Like she tells me she's not gonna want the waiver, but here she is, she wants a waiver. I think that they've had ample time to get the deed restriction in, and they promised it to us a couple months ago. We still don't have it. We still have just a draft document. And she led me to believe that they're okay with paying the bills, then submitting them once they get this deed restriction in. And I think that we should really stick to what's in the contract, which is they don't get more than 50%, and they've gotten more than 50% of their allotted grants in a number of cases. So for the third phase, they really can't submit any status reports. I wouldn't feel comfortable signing them because it violates our contract that we stated with them at the onset.
Okay, so your motion is to honor the terms of the agreement relative to the funding and await acting on any applications for monies authorized under the thing until the deed restriction is executed. Is that correct?
Yes, that would
Is
be.
there a second to that motion?
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, discussion.
In this particular instance,
Just a little louder, Linda.
in this particular instance, I'm not necessarily in favor of that. We know the buildings aren't going anywhere. We know that it's sometimes difficult for them to get it together for technical stuff like this. But I'm afraid that if we don't pay, they'll stop work on the structures and I want those structures, what their work they're doing now, done before the winter sets in. So I'm a little concerned that if they aren't able to reimburse, they're gonna have to stop the whole project. And I'm not into that at all.
I don't think that's the case, because the phone conversation I had with Kathy today, I explained again how it works and why the committee has to decide, because the original contract gave her 2 years. They dragged their feet, they still haven't got it done, and they've received a substantial amount of funding. They are not going to stop the project. That's what she led me to believe. They'll pay the bills, then they'll submit the status reports to me, and they'll get reimbursed. So the project will not be stopped in any way.
I don't know how they're gonna keep paying it, but that's beside the point. It looks like Michael May and Brian Pfeiffer are involved here, so what's the problem?
They don't have the actual deed restriction language document.
Well, we have a draft of
draft.
something.
Well, I thought there was a letter that said that Michael and,
There is, it's right here.
that the language of the deed restriction had been agreed to.
We are nearing completion of the preservation restriction for Seaview Farm, owned by NISTA. NISTA and NPT are in agreement with the draft restriction prepared by Brian Pfeiffer, which is the one we have attached. We will complete the exhibits and other outstanding items and will submit the restriction to the Mass Historical Commission this summer. We urge you to approve the NISTA request to allow NISTA to apply for reimbursements. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions about the restrictions and process. That's why I'm in favor of
The only thing
giving
I-
it.
Excuse me, through you, Mr. Chair. The only thing I'm concerned about is that letter was written and addressed on July 11th, so that was already under a previous meeting that we had. So after our meeting, we said we wanted to continue to this meeting. So we've already received this letter, really. What has been done since the last meeting that would change our decision-making at this juncture? We had this draft, I believe, last meeting. Has there been improvement to the draft or change in description or easements,
Not that I can tell.
language, anything that would say that there has been some kind of progress?
What may be holding this up,
It
but I would
doesn't-
have to ask, is that it could be up at Mass Historic, and that may be what's holding it up?
No, it is not there. They have not submitted it
They haven't
to
even
Mass
put it up
Historic. They don't have the actual deed restriction document. This is the same draft you got a month ago.
Well, they're saying that they're all in agreement. I don't know why they're stalling. And Michael's still here, so. Okay.
Further discussion relative to this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to stay to the terms of our agreement until we get further proof from the applicant that
You have to
they
talk
are in
louder for him.
compliance? All those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to that motion?
Aye. Dawn, are you
Dawn?
abstaining?
I can't decide.
I abstain. Here comes
Dan's coming on.
Diane now.
If you're abstaining, that would be two opposed, two in
No, I'm not.
favor.
I'm
She's
gonna,
thinking.
I'm gonna vote against it. I'm opposed.
Okay, so the motion does not carry.
No, it does, oh, that's three of us opposed, okay. So I'll make a motion to go ahead and pay the vouchers and give them 3 months to get the deed restriction back in here.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'd be a little more comfortable with 2 months.
Yeah, I was about
Fine,
to say.
2 months is fine. I'll change it to 2 months.
And I mean, I would think that this will have some impact on if they're filing another application with us coming up,
It's gonna
on our
motivate
thought
Yeah.
thought process
Absolutely.
on that. So it'll be in their best interest to get this done
Yeah.
them. Yes.
very
Okay.
soon.
I'll change it to 2 months.
Is there a second
Second.
discussion on this motion?
I think that we're on a slippery slope because we ask all our applicants to adhere to the contract. And they had 2 full years to get these documents in, and they still haven't done it. And it's not fair to all the other grantees that we hold to the deed restriction. And there are some that, like St. Mary's, that won't apply anymore because they can't get a deed restriction. And why should we be giving this particular group a buy on something that's vital, and it's right in our document? So I don't understand why.
I don't look at it as a buy, I look at it as, okay, you got 2 months, we give you 2 months. You're probably gonna make another application because they have to finish the long building, and it's gonna come up right as they sit in that chair.
Any further discussion on the motion?
I have a question. If I'm the project manager, is that forcing me to sign their status reports?
One of us can sign it.
Well, the thing is that the project manager's role with respect to the status reports is to ensure that the status reports are in compliance with the nature of the grant. And so if the status report is in compliance with the nature of the grant,
I
then
have to sign.
you know,
Okay.
sign it, yeah. It's not, that doesn't mean that you are in agreement with the decision
Okay.
relative to. It just means that you're certifying
Yes.
that the request for the funds are strictly within the
Legit.
letter
Okay.
of the funding request as per the town meeting.
Just for clarification, so we're making a motion to pay 2 months vouchers and
Yeah.
asking them to complete the deed restrictions in what time frame?
2 months.
In 2 months also.
And that no further funding requests will be honored until after the deed restriction is delivered.
So by agreeing to this, we've already exceeded the 50%.
We already are.
already
Right,
did
but
that.
we're continuing
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
exceed the 50%. Okay. Do we know where we are in the percentage of that, in
should
excess of
be-
the 50%?
It should be on there.
I think it has individuals.
No,
that it shows
on
you-
the thing I gave you.
Oh.
It has all the numbers, how much money. No, the email.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
One's almost totally
Did we have a vote on that?
paid up.
Yes.
Not yet.
No. I
No,
think
we didn't
the
vote on
motion's
it
still on
yet.
the table, right?
Because I have 3 grants out, just so anybody that's new.
The small one is for the
Yep.
things that's already been done.
Not much left.
Okay.
Exactly.
Any further questions or comments? And then all those in favor of the motion to pay and giving them 2 months to be able to get their deed restriction?
Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed. Motion carries.
Jack, are you in favor of paying NISDA's bills? Okay, Jack is in favor. Nobody,
With the 2 months.
With the 2-month stipulation.
yep.
Okay. Maria had asked that we put a follow-up on the Belvedere Planning Farm Fieldhouse, but she attended the meeting with the DPW, and so I thought it would be very helpful to bring us up to speed with respect to where they are on that particular project.
Excuse me. Normally, we don't monitor projects this carefully. However, the funding for this field house has been in the town's hands for about 10 years, so it's prudent for us to keep track of the $700,000. And the meeting was attended by 6 people, mostly field users. Rich Brannigan Jr. was able to give Chaz, who is from the DPW, he's been handed this as a project, he's new, some background information, because really Chaz, I think he took the job a couple months, and, now he's supposed to build this field house, and he didn't have any of the history. He seems very in earnest to move it along, and Rich explained that, I don't know when, but a number of years ago, the field users got together and discussed what was needed for the field house. And they came up with a design sketch that they showed us at the meeting. We talked about that. We thought about a couple of, take out this, put in that, knowing that we have a finite amount of money to deal with. And the changes were pretty much to keep costs down. The town has hired architectural consulting group to actually write the RFP. The sketch, obviously, isn't enough. It's not architectural plans, and that's what they need to move it forward. I asked for a timeline. We don't have one at present. I did get in touch with Architectural Consulting Group, and they said the RFP doesn't take long to get it ready. Since then, Rob got back to me that he's shooting for September. September for the construction to go out to bid. So that's where we stand, and I guess we just continue to encourage that it moves along. And I don't know about the dollars, because they've
Don't
said
have plans.
750,000, and we'll see how the bids come in. So that's the scoop. I give that to Galena, just so it's easier for her to write her notes. And it was a good meeting. I wasn't surprised that there were only 6 people there, because these people have gotten together previously. And they were the people like community schools, Rich Brannigan, lacrosse, and they talked to each other. They threw around some ideas. Do we need an office? Do we need a first aid station? You know, things that really were important. And everybody knows that there's a finite level of funding, and they're going to fundraise for furniture and benches and other things like that, so.
Linda?
Since it's my project, and it has been from the beginning, we have been monitoring this all along, just so you know. The original field house was approved by the HDC, I think when Dawn was still even on there, and Diane was there. It had a bunch of bells and whistles, and it was way over stylized. It was by a local design group. They went back and they redesigned it to have a overhang for in case it's raining or thunder and lightning, because there's so much metal out there, so they can get underneath it. Changing rooms, bathrooms. They took the concession out. They took all this other tchotchke in the basement out and all this other stuff. So it was redesigned again. So there were architectural plans. They were just over stylized, shall we say. We already scoped out how much money was left from the original amount, because they had to scarf that money when Kara was here to finish the fields and paint something that they weren't supposed to paint in the middle of the field, and then fix the field that they'd messed up, the regular grass field. So there was about, Glenn, 165, I gave them the figure, 165 some left in the quote-unquote playing field, the field house budget. But the way it was written originally, the field house, the fields, and all that other stuff was in one package, so it wasn't really split up quite that way, ultimately. So what's left is about 100 and half and change, somewhere in there, 165 or something, and they know that. I gave that figure to Rob. And they went back to cap program and apparently got the rest of the money to finish it. It's just a question of prevailing wage, the RFP, and all the other stuff that goes with it, because we could have built it for a fraction of what they're going to have to build it for, because it's a town project as opposed to a nonprofit. So that's where it really is. These guys have been meeting for years on what the design is, what the needs are. Rich has been very involved with the whole thing. We've gone through 3 DPW superintendents since this started, and they emasculated the Parks and Rec Commission, which had complete control of it.
Let's stay on
So
top. Let's stay on topic.
that's how this all got to this point.
All right.
So hopefully it'll move forward. Rob did tell me it was September, and we'll see what happens.
It's moving forward.
Yeah, because enough is enough.
Okay,
The porta potty's not working.
all right. Okay, next item on the agenda is new business, and the first item here is election of officers. We have 2 officers, we have a chair vice chair.
I'll make a motion to elect Ken chair.
A second.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I nominate Linda for vice chair.
A second.
I'll second.
Any other nominations?
What about
Vice Chair.
Maria too, just to give everybody a chance?
Is there a second to Maria's?
Can I second or no?
No, you can second
No.
yourself. Jack, are you up to speed here?
Yes. What's the motion now?
Ken was nominated and voted in as chair. Are you in favor of that?
Yeah.
And Joe Topham nominated me for vice chair, and it was seconded. And Diane Coombs nominated Maria Zota as well as for vice chair. So now we're voting.
I'm sorry, I have to go. I'm sorry, I have to go. I'm not gonna be able to
All right,
do
Jack's
that
voted for
first
me.
off.
Well, we didn't even second mine, so I mean, I think.
No, you
we're-
did.
you
You
can
seconded
second it.
yourself.
I can't second
Yeah, you
myself.
can.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Works for me.
All right, those voting for Linda, please indicate by raising your hand and saying yes.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
this for Linda?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5.
And Jack is yes.
And Jack was a yes. Okay. Thanks, Jack.
Um,
All right. No, we got a
I have
couple
to
more
go. I'm really
things.
sorry, I'm late already, but I,
All right.
just tell me when you guys are.
We may lose you. We may lose you in the middle of the sound.
Ken,
We did like mid-mornings.
I need to ask you a question about
And not
Habitat for
Wednesdays for her.
Humanity. I don't know where. It's, I should ask this under new business or other business? Because
Under other business.
Other business.
under other business?
Yeah.
Okay, fine, great.
Okay. There, the next issue is a two-part, one with respect to items B and C. The
Oh, B and C.
The website indicated that the grant applications were due on Friday, September 6th, the Friday right after Labor Day. And a couple of applicants, previous applicants have asked me when it was due, and I mistakenly told them September 13th, the second Friday in September, because that's my recollection historically when the applications were due. I've spoken to two of them. One of them thinks that they will be able to get their application in by September 6th. But the other one indicates that there's a problem because of the fact that their contractors, whose information they need, won't be able to have it in time for September 6th.
I've got his feet to the fire, but I don't think we're going to make it.
So the question is whether or not, in view of the incorrect information that I have given them, that we stay with the September 6th, or in the two instances where the incorrect information was given, we consider whether or not it would be appropriate to be able to accept their application on the 13th as opposed to the 6th.
It was, how's it on the website?
The 6th,
Sixth.
but these
The
are,
6th.
these are repeats, and
Wait,
it's
wait,
always
wait,
been the
Yeah.
second Friday.
That's not my question, Linda.
No, no.
My question
It's on
was,
the website,
It's
it's
the
on the
6th.
website as the 6th. That was my only question. Thank you.
And we were asked, and I was asked, and Ken was asked, isn't it
Well,
always the
Ken
second
was asked, were
Friday?
you asked as well?
Yes, and the second Friday of the month, and that's what, we both told him that, because that's what it always was. I didn't realize that last year it had been backed up 1 week, but every year before that, for
It's my
15
mistake.
years, has been the second Friday of the September, always, but I understand administratively why it was backed up. But that doesn't preclude the fact that these guys all have second Friday, second Friday, second Friday, because they've all applied multiple times over the years. So they're getting stuff ready. I think, as Ken said, one of mine is gonna be able to get, he's got it almost done. I talked to him today. The other one, they're working on it, but they're waiting for contractor stuff like Ken's is, and I think we need to give them till the 13th.
It's up
which
to
is-
this committee.
Does
Yeah,
it-
it's up to us.
Yeah.
Does it make any great difference to give them that extra week?
Well, they don't get the applications in if they don't.
Right, that's what I
It
mean.
just changes
Yeah,
kind of our
big deal.
scheduling a little bit.
Well,
but-
the thing is that what it does is.
I don't know how it got scheduled in the first place.
It means that the idea behind the change in scheduling was to give Glenn and the staff time to prepare all the
Stuff.
stuff for our first meeting on the 17th. If we do this, that virtually everything, other than possibly 2 applications, will be in on the 6th. So she'll be able to do the bulk of the work, and this 1 or 2 applications would be additional work 1 week later. So, and I can't speak for her, but I think that she would still be able to make the package for us for the 17th with only 1 information coming in a week later. But if the commission does not want to do that, that is the right of the commission.
Through you, Mr. Chair, may I ask Glenn if that is that doable?
Does it affect you, Glenn?
Does it affect you? I mean, if we extend it, or are you put in an awkward situation not to be put?
It's always been the second
No,
Friday.
it is
Always.
doable. What would happen is you will get the spreadsheet on the 17th, because if it's due on the 13th, if we extend it to the 13th, then
That's fine.
the meeting is on the 17th, that following Tuesday, so.
But
And
the
that's
thing
the way
is
it was
you
for
would have all
14
the-
years.
You would have all the information put by the 6th, except for this 1 or 2
Right,
applications.
right.
So you'd only have 2 pieces of
To
information
add,
that
yes,
you'd have to add from the 13th,
yes.
so.
And then if everybody could just come to the office to pick up their gift bags.
Yeah, the things that weigh 500 tons.
True.
But it is doable, yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
because I can pick up Diane's, and I can pick up yours. So I'll make a motion to extend to the 13th
I'm
for
going to
those,
abstain from the motion because I caused the problem.
to the 13th for the couple, that 2 or 3 that have thought it was always the second Friday of the month, and that's what they were told.
Did you say 1 could do it and 1 can't?
I
Can we
think
do
one's
the-
gonna
are we
get
gonna do
theirs
the
done.
13th for everybody?
No, the
Just
No.
for these 2? Or
2 or
just
3,
Whoever they are.
I think there's 2 or 3.
How does that work, Mr. Chair, if we only extend
Well, if anybody else comes in late,
Mhm.
we'll honor that.
They'll honor that,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
No, no,
yeah, I
no,
think you
no,
have
no,
to.
no.
Yeah, good
Thinking
point.
that, on their heads, it's the
Yeah.
second,
Yeah, yeah.
second
Right.
Friday
I'm
of the
not trying to
month.
encourage
Right.
anybody.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
I'm working
No,
on mine to
that's
get them
good.
in.
That's good
I agree
clarification.
with that.
So that's my motion to extend it to the 13th, 4 o'clock, as usual.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain. Thank you.
Okay. Jack, are you in favor?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. One of the things that. we
We're
want-
scheduling, Jack, for hearings after we get the stuff next week, and I can always pick yours up and bring it up to you.
What I am looking to see is sort of blocks of time. What I want to do is sort of 3-hour blocks of time, either mornings or afternoons. And rather than try and do it with all of our calendars here right now, what I'd like you to do is to, assuming that we have the 16 to 20 applications that we have, what we do is if the person has applied before, we give them 1 hour, we schedule 1 hour.
Half hour,
30 minutes.
half hour.
30 minutes.
People we've never seen get an hour.
In an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. So it means that we've got somewhere between 16 to 20 hours, which means that at 3 into 21, it's about, figure 6 or 7 blocks of time that we want to do. So what I'd like to do is to have everybody go, and what I want to start, we have our first meeting on September 17th. I'd like to think about looking at the 4 weeks from, starting on the 23rd, in terms of blocks of time, because we're gonna have to have the hearings, and then we're gonna have to have 2 days of voting, okay? So let's look at the 4 weeks following, starting at September 23rd, in terms of blocks of time, 7 blocks of time for 3 hours that were either morning or afternoon. And then, after we set that up, we'll take a look, and what we want to do for the 2 days for the deliberations.
I'd stay away from Wednesdays, because Joe
I
has
have
Concom and Dawn has
Yes,
selectmen's
select-
meetings because she's
select
the
board,
chairman,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'd stay away from Wednesdays entirely.
Right.
We did a lot of Fridays last year, which was the
Yeah,
first
we did.
time
In the
we've done
past,
that.
we did Tuesday,
Tuesdays.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No Wednesdays.
And what time frame are we looking at?
Generally 9 to 12
Okay.
in the morning.
Yeah.
Seem to work well.
And didn't Dawn say mornings were best for
She
her?
did say mornings.
say
would be-
mornings.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh.
yeah.
Diane has trouble on some days of getting here.
But I can do it on the telephone, right? Can I?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
Provided we have a
That's-
quorum in the room.
yeah.
Right, that would be, we have to have a quorum in the room, we
Yeah.
can see that, and then I could do it on the telephone.
Yeah.
Thing is
Okay.
that Diane has to bring me, and she's working
Working.
Right now, okay.
at the Stop and Shop, so, except for Tuesdays, which she gets off.
All meetings will be here?
It depends.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we have
Where
to
we can
we have to
find
figure
our
out
space.
when we are, and then we have to figure out where we can get the space.
Yeah.
Okay, so, by the end of this week, can you get to Glenna, the 7 blocks of time, or actually, what times work best for you within the 4 weeks that we're looking at, okay? And let's look at doing it in mornings, and let's look at doing it Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
No Wednesdays,
No Wednesdays.
no.
And look at Tuesdays, Thursdays,
And Fridays, that's what we ended up with last year.
Okay, in terms of what days work best for you with respect to blocks of time.
What's wrong with Wednesdays? It's at Board of Selectmen, but that's at night?
Concom,
Concom.
she has meetings in the
Concom.
morning because she
Yeah.
sets the agendas and everything else. She-
Okay, so
HTC
Friday,
deadline.
Monday.
I've got
Tuesdays,
Housing
Thursday,
Authority
Thursday,
on
and
Wednesdays.
Okay,
That water company was pretty good last year.
Yeah, that's what we
Yeah.
met.
yeah, well, we'll see where we can get, whether we can get, because that's been attractive because of the fact that there's parking there.
Easy
and so-
access.
So we'll see.
And if everyone could email me,
Yep.
that would be great.
Yeah, by this Friday. Would you send out an email tomorrow morning reminding all the members that they need to get back to you by close of business on Friday? What blocks of time work best for them, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays over the next 4 months between 9 and 12?
Okay. Mornings are right for you, Jack? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Well, we're talking about Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, but she's gonna send out an email for everybody to email back their timing, because you may have to go off island again. So she's gonna send it out and just email her back anytime in the next 4 weeks, what you're okay and what you're not okay.
Okay, good.
Because I know you've got traffic safety on Tuesdays at 10:30. So just sort of figure out what your schedule is.
Okay, good.
Okay.
My calendar.
All right,
All right. Anything else on new business? Then under other business, Diane wanted to raise something with respect to-
Yeah, do you remember last year that the Habitat for Humanity, or whatever it is, she didn't get any money
Right.
because she has those 3 pieces of land that Richmond is supposed to trade with her, and it hadn't gone through.
Well, actually, it wasn't Richmond, it was the town of Nantucket that would be.
Over here.
Giving the property to.
it was over here.
Through Habitat. And the issue with that is that,
Wait,
Not-
Drive.
This is the 3 properties out behind where they are on 75
Oh, you
Old
mean
South
Affordable
Road.
Housing
Referred
Trust.
to Housing Nantucket.
Housing
Housing
Nantucket.
Nantucket.
Habitat was the one
Habi-
who got no money over
No,
here,
this.
and Housing Nantucket got no
House-
money out there.
Sorry, it's been a rough day today for me. Housing Nantucket, that's what happened to her last year, was
Yes.
she didn't have the switch in property listing from Richmond to her and her to Richmond, because
Right.
they were gonna trade those 3 properties.
Right.
As far as I can understand from her, they do not yet have that, and I don't know, does that mean she can't apply again this year, or
well, the
what?
thing was, is that basically what ended up happening was that the town wanted to have the Affordable Housing Trust Fund be the coordinator of where the monies go to for affordable housing.
Right,
And so basically, what we did was we allocated a lump sum, the $750,000 last year to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and they were to address the requests from Housing Nantucket and Habitat.
They've already done that, Diane, the housing trust.
Right,
I'm
I
still
knew
on it.
that.
Already
I-
gave both of them the money that we didn't,
but I didn't
Do-
see that they had paid or that the switch in property had been listed. Doesn't it have to be listed?
no,
No,
the thing
just-
is,
okay,
switch. They're,
Yeah.
neither one of them are town entities, so they don't have to list anything. They can just go.
And the issue with Habitat is that at this point in time, the properties that they were talking to the town about have not yet been agreed to be transferred, because in fact, the way Habitat did their lottery made the properties not shy list eligible, which creates a problem, because we're then giving,
You still there?
we're creating properties for
Jack went over,
affordable
he's in the
housing
middle.
that
Coming out,
don't
he's in the middle of
qualify
Robert. He's
for
in
the
the
shy
middle,
list,
where he doesn't get the
therefore
reception. So Jack,
moving to get us
about 350.
towards our 10% target that we have to be able to prevent
right.
40 Bs. So the Habitat is working with the town to try, with Affordable Housing Trust Fund, to figure out a way to be able to solve that, to see if there isn't a way that can be worked out with Richmond to get them 2 parcels so that they can build the affordable housing on it.
Yeah.
And they're trying to work with the DHCD, the state, to be able to get a better definition of how
Get
the
them
lottery
included.
works,
Yep.
to be able to qualify what they do because of the sweat equity portion that has to go into Habitat to qualify for the Shires.
For the sinus.
Yep.
So, well, I'll check with her again. It's been a couple of weeks since I talked to her.
But
And
they need to go to the housing trust. They just got 20 million. And they need to go to the housing trust to get the money.
Ann needs to go to the housing
Both of
trust.
them
Yeah.
do.
Okay.
I've made that clear to one of them.
Any other questions?
Which is, we have our regular scheduled meeting for the 17th.
We do.
Okay.
Yep. And
Okey-dokey.
that's, hopefully that's when we will have the
We'll know.
form, the sheet
Yeah.
with all of the applications on it and the total amount. The other thing that's gonna be interesting is to see how much funding we're gonna have available this year, because the state budget did pass.
Yeah.
Supplemental budget.
So but we, you know, the thing is that we won't know until the latter part, almost at the point in time when we have to file. So what we're gonna have to do is make a best guess as to what we're gonna have available in terms of the funding available. But
But that was good news.
it was
Very
very,
good
it was
news.
very good news. What's encouraging is that the way that they did it in terms of raising some of the fees suggested that it has the possibility of that revenue stream continuing in future years.
Yeah.
Because in the past, they had just done it with respect to taking excess funds that were available in the budget process, that they then were able to allocate over. This time that they raised the fees on recording fees, which has been the basis for the funding for the CPC in the early years. And so you finally have a pool of money that has a regular flow into the state in terms of a source of funding for it. So it doesn't rely only on vote in
Access.
the House and Senate.
Mhm.
Are there any other items that anyone would like to raise with respect to the meeting today?
Motion to adjourn at 3:55 on the dot.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank
Thanks,
you very much.
everybody. Good timing, Diane.
Ah,